Row after row of unsold diesel pickups sits under dealer lot lighting in rural Nebraska, price tags flapping in the wind, while 3 lots over, a 15-year-old Ford F-250 with 200,000 miles on the odometer sells within a day of being listed. That is not a supply problem. That is not a pricing problem. That is millions of farmers and truckers making the same calculated decision, one at a time, to avoid the newest diesel trucks built for the American road. To understand why, you have to go back to a part most drivers never think about until it fails them: a plastic tank of clear liquid called diesel exhaust fluid. Since 2010, nearly every heavy diesel engine sold in the United States has relied on a selective catalytic reduction system to meet federal air quality standards. The system injects DEF into the exhaust stream to break down nitrogen oxide before it leaves the tailpipe. On paper, it is elegant engineering. In practice, for over a decade, it became one of the most hated components a farmer or trucker could own. If the system detected a fault, a bad sensor, low fluid, contaminated fluid, it did not just flag a warning light. In many cases, the truck's speed was forced down to as little as 5 miles per hour, sometimes within hours of the fault appearing. A combine operator mid-harvest. A trucker on the interstate, a rancher 45 minutes from the nearest dealer. All of them at some point crawled along a highway shoulder because a sensor mistook clean fluid for dirty fluid. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins later put the practical cost of that system in plain terms, saying the DEF reforms would let producers spend more time in the fields than in the repair shop. That single line captures what was actually at stake, not an abstract compliance debate, but hours and days of lost work during planting and harvest windows that don't wait for a warranty claim to process. By the summer of 2025, that frustration had a name and a growing paper trail. At a farmer and rancher roundtable in Guyton, Georgia, DEF failures came up as one of the top complaints EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin heard directly from the people who depend on these trucks for their livelihood, an issue he said he kept hearing about everywhere he traveled. In August of that year, the agency issued new guidance rewriting the software governing these derates, not just for future trucks, but for ones already parked in barns and driveways across the country. The new schedule gave operators real breathing room, a warning light only, for up to 650 miles or 10 hours. A mild derate, still drivable, for up to 4,200 miles or 2 full work weeks. Only after roughly a month without repair would speed finally drop to 25 miles per hour. Non-road equipment, tractors and combines working fields far from a shop got an even longer buffer, 36 hours before any torque reduction kicked in at all. That was only the opening move. In February 2026, EPA followed up with guidance reaffirming something farmers had been fighting for legally for years: the right to repair their own DEF and emissions systems under the Clean Air Act. No more waiting on a dealership appointment while a planting window closed. Days later, on February 12th, the agency went further still, repealing the federal greenhouse gas emission standards that had applied to commercial trucks, medium-duty vehicles, and passenger cars, unwinding the legal foundation that traced back to the 2009 endangerment finding. Existing trucks were unaffected, but the regulatory ground under future truck design had just shifted. Then came the data. That same month, EPA demanded warranty and failure records from the 14 manufacturers responsible for more than 80% of DEF systems on the road, covering model years 2016, 2019, and 2023. What came back pointed to a single, specific culprit: the urea quality sensor. The small component tasked with verifying DEF was pure enough to work. Manufacturer data submitted to the agency identified it as the highest failure rate part in modern SCAR systems, a part that could trigger a derate even when the DEF tank was completely full and completely clean. In March 2026, EPA moved to eliminate it outright. projecting the change would save farmers alone $4.4 billion a year, and American operators overall nearly $14 billion. The Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, the largest trade group representing small business truckers in the country, publicly credited the agency for listening to years of complaints about unexpected shutdowns and costly repairs that pulled trucks off the road for no operational reason. If you're finding this breakdown useful, hit subscribe. Every week, this channel tracks the regulations, engineering decisions, and dollars and cents realities shaping what farmers and truckers actually drive. Now, here's where the story gets genuinely forward-looking. Starting with model year 2027, EPA is requiring every new on-road diesel truck to be engineered so it cannot suffer sudden, severe power loss when DEF runs low or a system fault occurs. The agency has proposed going even further, eliminating forced derates entirely for new engines and replacing them with visible or audible alerts, letting an operator finish the job and address the problem on their own schedule instead of losing power on the shoulder of a highway. It's a direct rewrite of the relationship between a truck and the government mandate riding inside its exhaust system. Congress moved in parallel. On March 26, 2026, Representative Mike Collins introduced the Diesel Truck Liberation Act, aiming to strip the EPA of its authority to enforce emissions equipment mandates and to shield individuals from federal prosecution for tampering with or removing that equipment. That bill followed a Justice Department memo from January, directing federal prosecutors to stop pursuing criminal cases against people who sell, install, or manufacture delete devices, a sharp reversal from years of enforcement. Whatever side of that debate you land on, it tells you how deep the DEF backlash had cut, reaching all the way to the floor of Congress and the desk of the Deputy Attorney General. But regulation alone doesn't explain the dealer lots sitting full. The deeper story is economic, and it's measurable. The 2022 agricultural census counted 1.47 million American farms owning a combined 3.16 million trucks and pickups, an enormous fleet, and a fleet where trust, once broken, is expensive to rebuild. Older diesel pickups, the ones running a 6.7-liter Cummins, a 7-liter Power Stroke, or a Duramax, are holding their value instead of depreciating, prized less for dodging DEF entirely, and more for being simpler, proven, and cheaper to keep running than the newest generation. Owners aren't selling them, which pushes prices on the used market even higher, which reinforces the perception that newer trucks are the risk. It's a closed loop, and it's been closing for years. On the farm equipment side, the pattern is even sharper. Dealers report buyers now pay a specific premium for pre-DEF tractors, right alongside well-maintained, high-hour modern combines. Layer the general economics on top, and the picture sharpens further. Crop margins have stayed tight through 2026. Diesel fuel averaged $5.52 a gallon nationally as of late May, according to the Soy Transportation Coalition. Equipment manufacturers have felt it directly. One major manufacturer posted a $656 million profit for the quarter, but net income still fell 25% year over year. And industry data through the spring showed combine sales up 3.4% year over year, even as tractor sales slipped about 1%, with analysts describing lingering softness across the broader equipment market. Farmers aren't just skeptical of DEF systems. Many are simply choosing to delay any major equipment purchase until the numbers and the regulations stop moving under their feet. So when you see a fresh diesel truck parked under dealer lot lights for weeks at a time, you're not looking at a lack of demand for trucks. You're looking at the accumulated cost of a decade of forced slowdowns, a scramble of emergency fixes still working their way through federal rulemaking, and a farming and trucking population that has learned the hard way to wait and watch before it trusts what rolls off the line next. Whether model year 2027's redesigned derate rules, the eliminated urea sensor, or Congress's push to loosen federal control finally close that trust gap is still an open question. What's not in question is the paper trail. Roundtable complaints in Georgia. Emergency guidance in Washington. Warranty data from 14 manufacturers. A rewritten D-rate schedule. A repealed emissions finding. A bill on the floor of Congress. All of it traces back to the same source, a 5-mile-per-hour crawl down a highway shoulder, and the moment a generation of farmers and truckers decided they'd had enough.